Well, Mondays are usually the most boring day starting the week. However, I intend to keep your Mondays fun and exciting. So, if you guys saw my last episode, I mentioned in the end that I might do a one review episode only. Well, luckily, that came true because I'm going to be reviewing, of course, Stardom's much recent event, Crimson Nightmare, featuring many matches. Special matches like, of course, Saki Kashima taking on Bozilla, which, of course, is going to be very, very fun to watch because we know Kashima how she acts. And then, of course, we have three title matches involved. The High Speed Championship, Mei Seira defends it against Azuki. As you all know, Azuki is a former High Speed Champion, and of course, Azuki is a two-title holder. So we'll see if she could able to collect those belts. And then, of course, we have the Wonder of Stardom Championship, aka the White Belt, defended. Starlight Kid defends the belt once again against a former teammate, and of course, someone she once thought she could trust, and that is, of course, Konami. As you know, Konami recently lost to Starlight Kid for this match, but now she gets an opportunity. But the real question we ask ourselves, will Konami play her usual tricks to win? And of course, will Hate get involved? That's something we will pay attention to. And then finally, of course, the Red Belt, the World of Stardom Championship, and the New Japan Strong Women's title will be defended. Both belts will be defended. Saya Kamitani defends them against her own teammate and former teammate with Queen's Quest, Momo Watanabe, who is in fact, of course, the 5-star Grand Prix winner. But the real question is, will Momo finally become the Red Belt champion? Something that we have longed for many years. Many people have been asking for it. So the real question is, can it happen? We'll just have to wait and see. But of course, after this, we will be doing some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. In the world of wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the yapping. Let's get started with our only review, and this is, of course, Stardom Crimson Nightmare. Alright, Stardom Crimson Nightmare. This is the much latest event that happened on November 3rd. It was at the Ota City, what was it? Yeah, Ota City General Gymnasium in Tokyo. So that's where the venue took place. Now, we opened up with a four-way match. We have Fukigen Death versus Kikyo Furuzawa versus Rian versus Rana Yagami. Now, of course, there's a lot of strengths and weaknesses we can see when it comes to all four of these ladies. You look at Fukigen Death, who has been well known as a high speedster, not to mention try to pull up the infamous O'Connor roll when it feels the right moment. And then, of course, Furuzawa, as you all know, she is still basically the rookie, but she does have some great technical aspects in the entire match. And then, of course, Rian, as you know, she is getting her footing in now that she's growing a little bit. And then, of course, we have Rana Yagami, as you all know, a fantastic striker and a member of God's Eye. So you all know how that plays out. But the real question is who walks out as the winner. Well, surprise, surprise, somehow Rian, I have to believe, I cannot believe that she was able to counter the O'Connor roll, which is, of course, Fukigen Death's main topical arsenal that she uses to win. And apparently it got reversed on her, and I don't think she anticipated that for 1 second. But now she lost in the bad way. Her own move was countered, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Rian picked up the win. Now our next match is a 3-way 15-woman tag team match, meaning there is 5 versus 5 versus 5, and 3 teams are involved. Team number 1, we have Emma Maishima teaming up with the ladies from Mi Vida Loca, consistent of Akira Kurigani, Isuki Aoki, Rina Yamashita, and Zuzu Suzuki. They face, of course, the full force of the Cosmic Angels, of course, our newly crowned New Blood Tag Team Champions, Sayaka Kurara and Aya Sakura. They team up with, of course, Yuna Mizumori, Saori Anu, and Natsupoi, and they also are facing against, of course, God's Eye, consistent of Kiyoka Kotatsu, Lady C, Hina, Amisori, and Shuri. Now, of course, you probably will think this is going to be a difficult task because here's the thing. Three wrestlers will be out there while the others are outside. So it's going to be a bit of a mayhem for the referee because you have to keep track who the hell is the legal person. But, however, many people would have assumed that God's Eye would have had this in hand. But no, it was in fact Sayori Anu who picked up the win when she applied the pottering, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, the Cosmic Angels pick up the win. However, in the post-match, out of nowhere, we saw the arrival of course, Deathmatch Queen and someone who's been, of course, part of the Yoshi wrestling scene for many years, Risa Sera. And, of course, many of you may know this, Risa Sera is on the verge of retiring in January, right after Wrestle Kingdom. And that's exactly, she made this announcement. But, however, the reason she showed up was saying hi to an old friend of hers. If you guys know who I'm talking about, we're talking about Suzuki. If you guys haven't forgotten, Risa Sera was like a mother to Suzuki when, of course, when Julia left Ice Ribbon back in the day. And it was Risa Sera who was there for her the entire time. And, of course, as you all know, these two ladies specialize in death matches, and I think that's what's going to happen. So it seems that Risa Sera has picked her opponent for her retirement match that's going to happen, of course, on, I believe, on January 12th. Now, they haven't specified where it's going to be at. I wouldn't be surprised if it's either in Shinjuku Face or Shinkiba First Ring. I don't know. But, of course, Zuzu accepted the challenge. So, can't wait to see it. Our next match, we have the members of EXV, or should I say the former New Blood Tag Team Champions, Waka Tsukiyama, Hanako. As you all know, together they're known as Rice or Bread. They face, of course, Neo Genesis, Miyu Masaki, and Azumi. As you all know, these two ladies know each other too well, as you know, the members of Queen's Quest. And together they're also known as O2 Line. But the real question is what's going to happen here? Now, we have seen Rice and Bread grow significantly because they have developed some great skills. Not to mention, Waka has a very unique style. Hanako has gained a lot of experience using her strength, not to mention using a submission move that she learned from Shinsuke Nakamura and using the JP coaster that she inherited from Himeka. However, that did not do any good for her because in the end, it was Azumi that picked up the win when she applied the Azumi Sushi onto Waka, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our next match, we have a very interesting trios match. We have the members of Hate, We have Rina, Raka, and Natsuko Tora taking on stars consistent of Momo Kogo, Saya Ida, and of course B. Priestley. As you know, B. Priestley took some time off for a month. We know that Hanan is out on injury, so is Yuria Him. We don't know when Hanan and Yuria Him will be returning, but hopefully soon. But of course, you all know when it comes to hate, we know their tactics, how they play. They like to play dirty. They like to use weapons, not to mention softening their opponents outside the ring through the audience using their chairs in order to do so. But none of that stopped because in the end, it was in fact B. Priestley that picked up the win on Rina when she applied Plan B, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now our next match, this one was a real fun one. Bozilla versus Saki Kashima. Now for those who haven't forgotten how we got here in this match, let me explain it to you. Bozilla has been targeting Saki Kashima for quite some time. Now, however, Bozilla issued a challenge and Kurara out of nowhere told her just say yes, and of course when she said yes, that means she accepted the challenge. And of course, Kashima felt like, in her perspective that she was set up, and that sort of thing. So, of course, Kashima was going to be afraid. We know that she was definitely tried. I mean, look, Kashima tried to play tough as possible. She knows that Bozilla will murder her no matter what. That's one of the things about her. And then, of course, Kashima took a page out of Toru Yano's playbook. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm referring to, Toru Yano has the tendency to remove the safety features out of the corner buckle and exposes the metal rod that would hurt you. And it worked in her favor for quite some time. And I'm sure Yano would be say, good job, girl. Hey, hey, hey. But yeah, that may have worked. But however, of course, Kashima, on the other hand, well, things didn't go according to plan. She kind of, if you guys saw the recent match that I did with Marigold, what was it? Oh yeah, Grand Destiny. Megaton had to tap out because she was about to get pile drive by Minoru Suzuki. Well, Kashima had to play that same kind of card as well. When Bozilla had her right in the position for a power bomb, she quit. And just like that, Bozilla may not have gotten what she wanted, but later after that, she tossed her outside the ring, which was very messed up. But however, it seems that Bozilla may have gotten the win. Well, apparently, she sets her target now on Kurara and told her she's next. Of course, Kurara was like, oh, God, And yeah, and that's exactly what happened. I'm not sure if Kurara realized not only she set up Kashima, she even set herself as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kashima laughs at her. It's like, ha 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 ha, Kurara, you set me up, but you set yourself up. I wouldn't be surprised if Kashima laughs her butts off over this. But the real question is, when will this happen? Because the truth is, after this, I believe we will begin the commencement of Tag League in Stardom. But Kurara did mention something on her X account on the whole matter. Let me pull it up about her match that has been now spread upon with Bozilla. Let me pull it up right here for all of you so I can read it. Here it is. This is what she said. I won't run away. Even a giant monster is the same as a wrestler once in the ring. That's why I'll go all out and take it down. Brave of her, but the real question is, how are you going to bring her down? I mean, we know that Kurara has dealt with the toughest matches. I mean, not to mention she faced Saya Kamitani for the rep belt, and she didn't come out on top on that one. But we know she can pull it off, and she has picked up wins against her before. But however, she has to face someone who's much stronger, much bigger, and taller. So the real question is, can she pull it off? Would the spear be enough? I don't know. So we'll just have to wait and see. Now, moving on. Now we enter where we have our first of our 3 championship matches. The first one is the High Speed Championship, Azuki versus Meisira. Now, for many of you know this, Azuki has currently been going to Mexico, wrestling down there on behalf of Stardom. And not to mention, when she was out, Meisira called her out to have her challenge for this belt. And it's no secret for those who know, who've been long-time Stardom fans, that Azuki was a former high-speed champion. Now, of course, we all know that Azuki is a tough wrestler. She hits hard. She doesn't hold back. But however, the real question is, how will Mesita develop? We know she's a great high speedster, but she was able to pull off the checkmate. The first time failed when she kicked out, but the second, it was an instant hit right there. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. And then, of course, we did see a post-match promo between the two of them, Mesita and Azuki. I'm sure that Mesita will love nothing more to have another match with her, but we'll see what happens during that time. Now, our next match, which is our semi-main event, is the Wonder of Stardom Championship, aka the White Belt, and this is part 2 between Konami and Starlight Kid. Now, for those who know this, not too long ago, Konami has challenged for this belt, but she was unsuccessful, and I believe this took place back in April. And now that because Hate has become stronger, obtaining the Artist Belt, the Goddesses Belt, including the New Japan and the Red Belt. Now it's time for the White Belt to be part of their collection, because they're trying to do whatever it takes to control Stardom. But however, 2 days before, Konami attacked Starlight Kid, tried to dismantle her arm, thinking this will be the only way in hopes to win. But Starlight Kid, no matter what, Konami aimed for that arm once again. And not to mention, she tried to pull up the stretch muffler multiple times. But however, of course, when it comes to Hate, they helped her out with the spray can once again. And Starlight Kid fought back instantly. But unfortunately, things didn't go well because she ended up in a submission. And just like that, she tapped out. No choice. Starlight Kid lost the belt. And now Konami has obtained it. And Hate has another belt in their collection, which of course is going to be a tough battle for anybody who challenged them. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, for our main event, we have both titles. The Wonder of the World of Stardom, aka the Red Belt, will be defended, along with the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. Momo Watanabe, as you all know, who was the 5-star Grand Prix winner, issued the challenge for these belts. And Kamitani, as you know, obliged to the wishes. However, it's no secret for those who have been long-time, Stardom fans, know the history between Kamitani and Momo. If you guys know what I'm referring to, those who are new to the channel don't know what I'm talking about, let me explain it. Many years ago, there was a faction known as Queen's Quest that was formed by none other than the Genius of the Sky, Io Sky, or at the time she was known as Io Shirai. Io Sky was in fact the original leader of Queen's Quest, but when she left and signed with WWE, Momo Watanabe became the leader of Queen's Quest for a couple years until she betrayed them in 2021 by stabbing them, attacking Azumi with the chair, and ever since then she went into a dark place. However, we know that ever since she joined Oedo Tai, later became Hate, she's been aiming for the red belt, but however, no success. And now history repeats itself. For those who don't know, it was Momo Watanabe has defeated Kamitani before, but the real question is, will Momo do it again? Will Kamitani overcome that loss? But I have to say, these ladies did not hold any punches. Of course, they took their fight outside the ring. There was no interference from Hate. This is between these two because of their long-standing history as members of Queen's Quest, and that plays out pretty well. And of course, Momo did everything humanly possible to take her out. Kicks to the head, even the B driver, tried to apply the Tequila Sunrise. Whatever it took, nothing. But however, Saya Kamitani was able to apply the Star Crusher, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, Momo was frustrated, knowing too well she lost, and she said that she'll be coming for that belt and called her a piece of shit. And I'm sure Kamitani is looking forward to it. However, it seems that now Kamitani has two challengers for two obvious reasons. One is Shuri. She said that she's willing to put the IWGP Women's Championship on the line of course, at Wrestle Kingdom. And of course, Kamitani has aimed for this belt too. She's also trying to collect the belt. And not to mention, Kamitani's goal is to fulfill Tam Nakano's dream that now she couldn't do was, of course, to host a Stardom event in Tokyo Dome, but she is the only to do so is to collect these belts. But however, Sayuri Anu, as you know, has her own plan. She issued the challenge for the red belt. Now, for those who may not remember this, when Tam Nakano was a red belt, it said that if she ever won the red belt champion, she was willing to, of course, have Sayuri Anu challenge for it. However, that never happened. As you all know, Tam Nakano was forced out of wrestling due to the loss, and now it's that time. So basically, this is the situation that's going to turn. Kamitani has declared that Sayuri Anu is in fact going to challenge her for the red belt at Dream Queendom, of course, taking place in December. And of course, she'll be facing Shuri for the IWGP Women's title at Wrestle Kingdom. So we'll see what happens until then. But we do know coming up, there is a press conference for Tag League. So stay tuned for that if you guys are able to do so. I'm not sure if I'll be keeping you guys updated on that. But for now, that's pretty much what we have. So we're done with our review. Let's move on with our last and final thing. And that is, of course, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin, as always, with upcoming events, and we have a whole load right here. As you probably may have heard, we have on November 6th, Japanese promotion Pro Wrestling Freedoms, or as we know them, Freedoms, will have announced a very interesting match taking place, and it's going to take place in Saitama. The match is Jun Kasai will team up with the Ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi, which is very interesting. Now, I don't know if this is a death match or just a straight up match. And those two will be teaming up, which is like, holy cow. I did not see that. But they will be facing against Toru Sugiura and Tomoya Hirata. So, that's pretty much what we do know. Now, moving on. Now, as you know, we had the collaboration with West Coast Pro and Prestige with Strength Beyond Strength on the 7th of November. 3 matches have been announced. Maya World will take on Miku Alana. Better Together will team up with Jaya Jewel to take on All Day Crew. And then finally, of course, the Prestige World Championship will be defended. Kevin Blackwood will defend it against the man he won this title from, and that is, of course, Judas Ikra. So this is part 2 between these two. Now, GCW, for their Vermont event on the 9th of November, KJ Orso, formerly known as Fuego del Sol, will take on a guy I never heard of, but he calls himself Mullet Man. Yeah, he has an actual mullet. So, yeah, that's why he calls himself Mullet Man. Then, of course, as you know, House of Glory will have the Super Clash event on the 15th of November. They announced, of course, Nick Meneth will be participating. MLW will do a collaboration with Don Gato Tequila on the 20th of November in Charleston, South Carolina. It was announced that Priscilla Kelly will be in action to take on the undefeated Shotzi Blackheart. So that's going to be an epic match. And then, of course, we have Seattle-based promotion DEFY Wrestling with the Eon event taking place on the 21st of November in Seattle. 2 matches have been announced. Judas Ikras will take on Mad Dog Connolly. And then, of course, we had Bert Vixen versus Rebel Kell. Moving on. As you know, there is a collaboration between 2 promotions, Wrestling Revolver and Arrival Wrestling. And their event is called Wrestle Combat, which is a sick name, using the Mortal Kombat thing. And now, several matches have been announced, and this will happen, of course, on the 21st of November in Newark, New Jersey. The first match they announced, Steve Macklin will be in action to take on Kevin Blackwood. That's going to be one hell of a match. And then we have what they call a Kaiju Death Match. Bear Bronson will be in action to take on Kroll. So that's going to be one hell of a brutal, deadly, bloody match. And then finally, of course, the Wrestling Revolver Remix Championship will be defended. The current champion, BDE will defend it against Chris Danger. And then finally, of course, West Coast Pro will have their own show called Winter Wonder Slam, taking place on the 19th of December. And they announced that the West Coast Pro World Championship will be defended. Vinny Massari will defend it against Timothy Thatcher. However, here's the drinkle here. For those who know this or not, I mentioned this, that Vinny Massari will defend this championship on the I think the 20. Hold on, let me look at it again. Yes, on the 7th of November against Isaiah Broner. So basically, if Vinny Massari loses, it will. If Vinny Massari loses, he will not be the champion, but he will have this match or the other. I don't know exactly how that plays out. So we'll just have to wait and see. Now, moving on to our developments, we have Lilian Garcia has announced that she's engaged to be married, and she mentioned that her fiance was an actual wrestler. Now, she never specified who it is, but if anybody knows who it is, leave a comment down below and tell me. Many of you may remember Mercedes Moné's ex-husband, Sarath Tan. As you all know, what was it, about a year ago or so, Mercedes Moné divorced him. Sarath Tan used to be a wrestler, then he became a costume designer with WWE. It's still unclear if he's still with the company. However, it was announced that he got married in a private ceremony to a woman named Miranda Nexovich. That sounds like a Russian name. But anyway, I don't know who she is. But yes, so I'm happy for him. I don't know what Mercedes Moné's reaction. I highly doubt that she thinks about that. As you all know, she is currently in a relationship with Beast Mortos, which we can see how happy she is. And then finally, our last update. Many of you has known about Hangman Page, how he is pretty much been on a warpath against ICE, as you all know, that he did not like the idea of ICE putting their commercials onto Dynamite events, and apparently a fan had a sign that says ICE fears Hangman, and apparently that sign was confiscated by security. However, Hangman Page felt bad for him that his hard work sign was taken, so he decided to send this fan autographed signs of his name, gifts to him. So basically, after this was taken from him, I thought it was a pretty nice thing for him to do. I mean, I'm sure he probably enjoyed that, what he saw, but I think he felt bad that this fan has signed that he worked so hard just was taken. But yeah, so that's pretty much what we have for our developments and everything else. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we have NXT taking place. So as you know, we'll be heading to the next event, and it's going to be brutal as always. As you know, Trick William wants to have his NXT championship back, and it's going to be in an Iron Man match, which is going to be brutal. So we'll see what happens, because as you know, we're heading to the next event, and we'll see what things are taking place. So if there's any other reviews I might do, we'll see how that goes. I may try to leave it as a one review because of the situation. Again, it's my personal life, my regular day job, so we'll see how it happens. But I am considering maybe, just maybe, catching up with MLW and West Coast Pro, which of course is their much recent events that came out this late last month and early this month. So we'll see how that rolls up. But as of right now, I'll say this, and I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.